Hi, I'm Ate Pat. Come learn Tagalog with me. Oh hey, this came in the mail for me today. It's a box of opposites. Let's learn some Tagalog words that describe opposites. What do you think is inside? The Tagalog words can be found in the description of this video. Follow along. The first thing in our box is a phone. The style of the phone has evolved over the years. Bago, new, bago. Luma, old, luma. Speaking of old, the oldest college in the Philippines is the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. Records show that it's even older than Harvard. The next thing in our box is a tape measure. Tape measures are useful in seeing if something is big or little. Malaki, big, malaki. Maliit, little, maliit. Speaking of big, the biggest mall in the Philippines is the SM Mall of Asia in Pasay. It's so big that it has an ice skating rink, a Ferris wheel, and the first ever IMAX theater in the Philippines. The next thing we have in our box are pencils. This pencil is long, and this pencil is short. Mahaba, long, mahaba. Maikli, short, maikli. Speaking of long, one of the longest underground rivers in the world is found in Palawan. The Puerto Princesa subterranean river is about 5 miles long and is one of the new 7 wonders of nature. The next thing we have in our box is a mug. I love drinking hot chocolate on a cold day. Malamig, cold, malamig. Mainit, hot, mainit. Speaking of hot, the Philippines is located near the equator, and the hottest recorded temperature happened in 1912. It got up to 108 degrees Fahrenheit, or 42.2 degrees Celsius. The next thing we have in our box is a towel. Towels are useful for drying things off that are wet. Basa, wet, basa. Tuyo, dry, tuyo. There are 2 major seasons in the Philippines, dry season and rainy season. Dry season is from December to May, and rainy season is from June to November. The next thing in the box is the stopwatch app on my phone. The stopwatch can determine if something is fast or slow. Mabilis, fast, mabilis. Mabagal, slow, mabagal. Speaking of fast, a fast form of public transportation in the Philippines is the MRT, or the Metro Rail Transit. It's a train above ground that transports people around Metro Manila. The next thing in our box is a lamp. Lamps are useful for making it light when it's dark. Madilim, dark, madilim. Maliwanag, light, maliwanag. Speaking of lights, every December, the city of San Fernando has a giant lantern festival. Some of the puddles are 15 to 20 feet tall and have up to 10,000 light bulbs. The next thing in our box are noise-canceling headphones. Tahimik Quiet, tahimik. Maingay, noisy, maingay. Speaking of noisy, karaoke is a popular pastime in the Philippines, and many homes have a karaoke machine or a karaoke mic. Family and friends love getting together and compete for the highest singing score. The next thing in our box is a coin. There are 2 sides to every coin, the front and the back. Harap, front, harap. Likod, back, likod. Speaking of front and back, the Sinulog Festival is one of the grandest celebrations in the Philippines. It's a religious festival to honor Santo Niño, and it happens every January in Cebu. Sinulog means like the water current, and it describes the steps of the Sinulog dance. Dancers take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, just like the movement of water. Thousands of people fill the streets of Cebu to watch dancers and performers take part in this joyful celebration. The next thing we have in the box is toy furniture. Furniture like bed and a lamp are typically found inside of the house, not outside. Loob, inside, loob. Labas, outside, labas. Speaking of outside, something that's always done outside are fireworks. To celebrate the new year, many Filipinos light fireworks because it's said that the loud noise and bright lights ward off bad luck and bring in good fortune. Let's review some of the Tagalog words we've learned so far. Bago, new, bago. Luma, old, luma. Malaki, big, malaki. Maliit, little, maliit. Maikli, short, maikli. Mahaba, long, mahaba. Mainit, hot, mainit. Malamig, cold, malamig. Tuyo, dry, tuyo. Basa, wet, basa. Mabilis, fast, mabilis. Mabagal, slow, mabagal. Maliwanag, light, maliwanag. Madilim, dark, madilim. Maingay, noisy, maingay. Tahimik, quiet, tahimik. Harap, front, harap. Likod, back, likod. Loob, inside, loob. Labas, outside, labas. Phew, we have a lot of things in our box. The next thing in our box are fuzzy slippers. Shoes have a left and a right. Kaliwa, left, kaliwa. Kanan, right, kanan. Speaking of shoes, the world's largest pair of shoes can be found in the Philippines. The city of Marikina is the shoe capital of the Philippines, and it's known for its shoemaking industry. In 2002, they made a pair of leather shoes that were almost 18 feet long and 7 feet high. The next thing in our box is a calculator. The calculator can be used to determine the amount of something. Konti, few, konti. Madami, many, madami. Speaking of many, the Philippines is an archipelago that's made up of over 7,000 islands. The country is named after King Philip II of Spain and was discovered by Spanish explorer Ferdinand Magellan in 1521. The next thing in the box are a pair of goggles. These are usually worn when someone is swimming in a pool or the ocean. A body of water can be deep or shallow. Malalim, deep, malalim. Mababaw, shallow, mababaw. Speaking of deep waters, the Philippine Trench is one of the deepest parts of the whole ocean. It's located to the east of the Philippine Islands, and the deepest point is over 10,500 meters below the surface. The next thing in the box is a scale. A scale can be used to see how much something weighs. Mabigat, heavy, mabigat. Magaang, light, magaang. Speaking of heavy lifting, Heidelin Diaz won the first ever gold medal for the Philippines in the 2020 Summer Olympics. She holds the world record for her category and won by lifting 224 kilograms, close to 500 pounds. The next thing in our box are some cleaning supplies. Malinis, clean, malinis. Madumi, dirty, madumi. One thing that can make a big mess is a volcano. Mount Pinatubo in central Luzon erupted in 1991. It was the second largest volcanic eruption of the century, and it caused ash to fall over miles and miles and displaced many people from their homes. The next thing in our box is some medicine. You might take some medicine to help you get better. May sakit, sick, may sakit. Malusog, healthy, malusog. People may need to take medications to stay healthy. The antibiotic erythromycin was invented by a Filipino from Iloilo, Dr. Abelardo Aguilar, in 1949. The medication is used to treat bacterial infections. The next thing in our box is a pillow. A pillow is nice and soft, not hard like a brick or a rock. Malambot Soft, malambot. Matigas, hard, matigas. Something that can be hard and soft at the same time is lechon. It's a whole pig that's slowly roasted over a fire for hours until the skin gets hard and crispy, while the meat inside stays tender and juicy. Lechon is said to be a national dish of the Philippines and is served at special occasions. The next thing we have in our box are some keys. Keys can be used to open something or to keep something closed. Sarado, closed, sarado. Bukas, open, bukas. Doors in the Philippines can be made out of solid wood like nara. The nara tree is the national tree of the Philippines, and it's known for being sturdy, durable, and resilient. It's said that the tree symbolizes the strength and resilience of all Filipinos. The last thing we have in our box is a test. Sometimes tests are easy, and sometimes they're hard. Madali, easy, madali. Mahirap, hard, mahirap. Something that might seem difficult for others is arnis, which is the national martial art form of the Philippines. Arnis involves defending oneself with sticks, swords, or bare hands. If you look closely, arnis is featured in the 2021 Disney film Raya and the Last Dragon. Let's review the Tagalog words we've learned. Kaliwa, left, kaliwa. Kanan, right, kanan. Konti, few, konti. Madami, many, madami. Malalim, deep, malalim. Mababaw, shallow, mababaw. Mabigat, heavy, mabigat. Magaang, light, magaang. Malinis, clean, malinis. Madumi, dirty, madumi. Malusog, healthy, malusog. May sakit, sick, may sakit. Matigas, hard, matigas. Malambot, soft, malambot. Bukas, open, bukas. Sarado, closed, sarado. Mahirap, difficult, mahirap. Madali, easy, madali. And those are some of the Tagalog words that describe opposites. Take a look around you and see what opposites you can find. As for me, I have a date with a karaoke machine. Paalam! And one more thing, be sure to check out our new TikTok account for video recaps and follow us on Instagram for behind the scenes footage and more. Paalam! As for me, I have a date with a karaoke machine. Paalam!